Hello, welcome back to UK Money Wisdom with Angie. I'm Angie. Do you know, every week politicians tell us we're turning a corner. But if you're retired or trying to save for retirement, you already know that corner leads straight off a cliff. Now, I call this the elite blind spot. The reason politicians of most parties are mathematically incapable of fixing the UK pensioner crisis. It's not because they don't care, it's because they literally can't see the damage. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Westminster is trapped, how the system is rigged to drain ordinary savers and pensioners, and most importantly, how we can force real change together. You see, the overarching problem is the Westminster Bubble. That's their structural blindness, which is inbuilt. Only 7% of the UK population attend private fee-paying schools, but year after year, over 35 to 40% of senior politicians come from that same tiny world. This isn't just privilege, it's structural insulation. Their friends, their networks, their understanding of life, well, it's all shaped in an environment where financial safety is taken for granted. When your reality is property portfolios, investment funds, and dinner donors, your biggest fear is asset fluctuation, not an energy bill. But if you're living on a fixed state pension, that £100 jump in the heating bill isn't abstract, it's the difference between comfort and cold. That's the Westminster Bubble. A world where politicians live in permanent insulation from the economic weather. And it's this insulation that fuels the UK pensioner crisis, a national emergency that they simply can't comprehend. Our politicians are so behind from other countries. Did you know that in countries like Finland or China, for example, talented students from poor backgrounds are actively brought into government because their perspective strengthens decision-making and makes it more realistic, more in line with how the everyday person is coping. But in the UK, we do the opposite. We continue to recruit privilege and exclude lived experience. So we end up with an elite class of decision makers who can recite economic theory, oh yes, but have never felt what happens when a pension payment doesn't stretch. The economic machine that politicians have created and perpetuate is designed to drain us. Let's decode the machine that's quietly draining your savings and dismantling retirement security. Step 1 is the tax trap, because the UK tax system hits earned income, your wages, your pensions, much harder than unearned wealth. If you work, you pay income tax and national insurance between 20 and 40%. If you own assets, on the other hand, you pay minimal capital gains tax, often less than someone on a modest pension withdrawal. The wealthy get taxed so much less, at between 10 to 20%. Let's move on to step 2 to fully understand what's happening in our country: asset inflation. And whenever the economy slows, the Bank of England pumps money into assets, property, stocks, and bonds, and that inflates wealth for those who already have it, while doing nothing for those living on cash savings. And when you hear quantitative easing, remember what it really means. Rich people's assets rise while your purchasing power shrinks. In step 3, you have the inflation squeeze, which is the final twist. Prices go up, but pensions rarely keep pace. Cash savings lose value. Those with property or investments see gains. Those without lose ground. It's a perfect system, isn't it, for retirement inequality? Not a flaw, but a design to ensure money flows from workers and pensioners into the pockets of the wealthy asset owners. Now, economist Gary Stevenson saw this coming from inside the trading system, and he warned, if you funnel wealth to the top, you kill spending power at the base. The economy stalls, and that's not ideology, that's arithmetic. And it's why your retirement feels less secure every year. The UK pensioner crisis is the inevitable outcome of this rigged design. Now let's look at the human cost, shall we, with Ken's story. Because every statistic hides a story, doesn't it? But the government can't feel it because they've never experienced it. I told you in my last video about Ken, the 74-year-old retired engineer who, after a lifetime of paying in, woke up to find £5,389 taken from his bank by HMRC. They took it in one administrative sweep. No warning, no appeal for him. To Westminster, this is just a clerical issue. To Ken, it's panic, humiliation, and loss of trust in a system he thought was there to protect him. There are thousands of Kens, pensioners who did everything right, but are treated as expendable data points. And this is the human face of the UK pensioner crisis, proof that the economy is working for assets and not people. And now we see the mechanics and how politicians from the 3 major parties, Labour, Reform and Conservatives, won't change them because they are trapped by donors, ideology and fear. Labour fears can be labelled anti-aspiration, so they won't touch wealth taxes. Reform may talk about the little guy, but still push for cuts that reward investors. Conservatives depend on asset owner donations. And the truth is, they all protect the same golden rule: don't upset the rich. But you cannot fix a broken economy by protecting hoarded wealth. Growth only happens when ordinary people have money to spend. The elite have mistaken capital protection for economic competence. So does any politician get it? Well, the good news is that there are parties and thinkers outside the bubble, like the Green Party, whose platform includes a wealth tax and even a universal basic income. Whether or not you agree with every detail, they are at least speaking the truth Westminster avoids. Tax wealth, not work. That's not ideology, that's basic economic balance. Because unless we restore fair distribution, retirement inequality will worsen and growth will die. Here's the fix, the 3 steps to restore balance. And the fixes aren't complicated, they're just politically dangerous, but they work. Fix number 1, tax wealth, not work. Shift the burden from earned income to unearned income. Tax land speculation, excessive capital gains, and inherited wealth fairly. Stop punishing people for working and saving. Start taxing those who extract without contributing. That is the foundation of a fair economy. Fix number 2 is to end asset inflation policy. Politicians need to tell the Bank of England its job is not to inflate property prices. They need to tie monetary policy to cost of living stability, food, fuel, housing, not billionaires' portfolios. We don't need luxury bubbles. We need affordable homes and stable savings. And finally, fix number 3, protect the base. A civilised nation guarantees its elders' dignity. The state pension must meet the minimum income standard, enough for heating, food and social participation. It's not charity, it's repayment for decades of contribution. These 3 steps could rebalance Britain, but not if we stay silent. Every government that ignores inequality collapses under it. The maths don't care about ideology. If we don't act to protect pensioners, rebuild fairness and reward real work, Britain's decline will become permanent. As pensioner poverty rises, Britain's economy stalls and the inequality gap widens. The elite blind spot isn't just destroying trust, it's destroying the engine of our economy. But we can still change course. We can demand policies that value contribution over connection. We can insist that dignity in retirement is not a luxury, it's the measure of who we are. And I'm recording this because now it's the people's turn, us, you and me. Do you agree that Westminster has an elite blind spot about the real economy and the lives of real people? Do share this video and help others see what's happening behind the headlines. And please comment below what the biggest unfairness you've faced in your pension or savings is, because the more you share and write about what's happened to you, the more this message is likely to reach those who need to hear it. And do hit like if you believe we must tax wealth, not work. And subscribe to UK Money Wisdom for truth that serves people, not privilege. Because together we can force the change. No politician will start alone. I'm Angie, and this is UK Money Wisdom, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.